You have the ability of printing out any form that's available in your system. A very important note before you go to print anything from the IMS, you must make sure that you have Java installed on your computer. If you don't have that installed, if you pull up a form or anything and you click on the print, what's going to happen is nothing. And 9.5 times out of 10, the issue is that you don't have Java installed. Very simple thing to do is just go to www.java.com. It's going to look just like this. There's the free download. It'll take you 3 or 4 minutes to download that and click install and run, and you'll be all set. Once that's installed on your system, then you'll be able to print forms. And as I say, if you ever run into an issue where all of a sudden your forms don't print, everything else seems to be working fine, just go and update your Java and you should be all set. So we'll go back to the IMS now. Now, to get to the forms, obviously, you can only do this with standard records. Forms are not available for web-only records, so any of your standard records, the forms will be available. So we'll open a record, and you go to Printing, and then Forms Printing. This now has gone to My Favorites forms. I'm going to show you how to do that. So what you'll do is you'll go to the category. It's right now, this is set on Favorites. We're going to go to Master Forms. And you'll see every form in the system is loaded in there now. Next, you have to go over to Country, and you select your country, whether Canada, the US, or Universal. We'll select Canada. And then you go and select your province or state. Obviously, when you select your country, it's only going to provide the provinces or states. And there's my provincial forms. And you'll see that I have checked some as favorite. What you do is you go through, and you look at all the forms, and then you go, these are the ones that I'm going to be using. I'll select those as favorites. Then the next time you select printing and forms printing, only your favorites will come up. So you don't have to go select the forms for the whole big list every time you go in to print a form. If you're looking for veteran forms, you can find them within the province state dropdown, and it'll be called federal. So we'd find any of the federal forms in here in veteran forms. Okay, so we'll go back to my favorites. And there we have them. One quick note, when you're using the pre-built forms in the system, you won't be able to edit the layout or make any changes to the fields in the form. You'll only be able to fill out the form with information that you need at that particular time, but you can't modify the fields and save that to the form. If you want to make changes to a pre-built form, you will need to save a copy locally, which I will be explaining shortly. If you'd like to print more than one form at a time without any modifications needed, all you have to do is select the forms you want to print and then click on the Quick Print option. So you would just click this one, and this one, and Quick Print. That way you wouldn't have to open each one up. If you know that they're working fine, just click it. All 3 of them would print out for you automatically. So we'll open up a form. Just click on Preview. And as you can see, my form has loaded now with all the information pulled from the record. But you can see that there are certain fields that appear to be empty yet. But there's something you can do about that. First, what you do is you would go to Enter Data. And you'll see that we have 2 types of boxes here. The white ones mean that there is information that is pulling from the client editor. So these are all actually pulling pertinent information, as they're supposed to be doing. The red ones you'll see means that either the information was never entered in the record for it to pull to the form, or the system doesn't capture the information and it needs to be entered manually. So anytime you have a red box here, but you do need this information, simply click in it, delete the data that's in there, and then enter the information you need. It's as simple as that. If there are any fields that don't apply to this record, don't have to worry about it, and you can leave them as they are. If you complete any of the red boxes with information captured in the client editor, you'll notice here that it says Save to Record. So what this does, if you click that button, it actually will go back into the record and fill this data in the field where it is required. So it saves you a couple of steps there. So we're just going to save that to record, and that's done. And now we'll preview again. And now when you're ready to print, everything looks okay, you would just click Print. This is an option that you'll get if you want to print with the background that's built into the system. If you can do that, just print to a plain piece of paper. If that's allowed in your province or state, you would just click Yes with Print the Background. If you have to print to the government-issued form, you would click No, and then put your form in your printer, and then go ahead with your printing process. So we want to print with the background. We'll click Yes. And you'll see you'll get your pop-up. If this doesn't happen, that's that Java issue. If you don't get the option of where to print, it's most likely the Java problem that you would have to go and update your Java. And then of course you can select whatever printer you want to use, click print, and your job will be printed. Should you need to change the alignment of any of these fields, you would select Modify Fields. And this opens up the editor, and you can see that if this wasn't in the right spot, you could move it around. Say we want it to be there. Or you can also modify this field by going to Text Alignment and center it, and so it will pop up in the center of the field. Now, if you find that you have a form and this is all out of alignment, but you'd like it on one nice straight line, there's a simple way to do that too. Simply click on the first field, hold the Control key on your keyboard, click on the next field until you've selected them all in that row. Now right click, and you'll see Align Top Edge. That'll be our selection there. That will align all the fields in that row, and you can do that all the way down through the document. If you're having an issue with alignment in the column, same thing. Click on one, click on the next until you have them all selected. Once again, right click, and this time you would align the left edge, and you'll see how it pulls them all over so they do all align properly. And we'll preview that. You see that this has been centered, so that's why it's like that, but all these fields have been aligned nicely along the edge of the page. So you can make those modifications. Once again, if this is a master form, if you do this once, when you come back and use this form again, it's not going to be saved. You're not allowed to save master forms, or to make changes to the master forms, I should say. But we're going to show you how to work around that too. Once again, form looks good, everything is where you need it. Click print, and away you go. Now, how do you go about saving one of those master forms to your system? We were actually looking at a master form that I had saved locally, and this is the master form here. This was the copy that I made of it, and you can see that this now states that in the My Form category it says yes, with others say no because they are masters. Should you need to save a copy of a master form, simply go over to the preview button, click the arrow drop down, and then copy. You'll get this option. I always suggest that you change the name a bit. If you can see in the background here, I changed that form to My Local Ontario Statement, where the original doesn't say that, just so that you know for sure that you're using the correct one that you want. So you may name it Mine or Local or New, whatever works best for you. If you don't want to rename it, like I say, you don't have to worry about it because it still will show in the My Form column that it is your form. But if we just go, I'm just going to put a 1 in here so I'll know what I'm talking about. Click OK. And now I have that saved locally. You'll want to click Favorite so that it comes up in your list of favorites every time you go to Forms Printing. So I click on Forms Printing again to refresh the page. And there's my new form right there. This form I could now click Preview. And now at this point I'd be allowed to modify any of the fields I want, change the formatting. As you can see, the formatting of the font, I may want to change that. So I'm going to go to Modify Fields. I click on that. And I want to use this. I want a larger font. And there you go. You see how you can format that. Now, if you want to make any changes to the formatting of the form, those changes will be saved because you've saved this copy locally, and you'll only have to make that change once. So once you've got the formatting of the form the way you like it, you save it, it's there all the time for you. You never have to go back in and do that. Now to add or edit a form, we have another video called Edit Build Forms. We suggest you have a look at that one. If you have any further questions regarding the forms generator, contact your project manager or send an email to support@frontrunner360.com.